Welcome back to Legendary Foods, Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Thursday, January 5th, 2023. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. In sports, you normally try to keep your focus on the present tense and try not to let yourself get sucked into what would have, could have, and should have been. But I'll tell you what, it's not hard to let your mind wonder about what would have happened had Hassan Mustafa not pulled out of the Olympia at the last minute. When Hassan released this update earlier in the week, I think the general reaction from most of the fans was shock and awe, because this version of Hassan that we're seeing in this video is one that looked like it could have easily challenged for a top 10 spot, or maybe even a little bit higher depending on what you thought of his back in the lineup. Obviously, 2022 was a career year for Hassan, so not being able to put an exclamation point on it with a standout Olympia debut is somewhat of a letdown. But now that he's proven to himself and to the bodybuilding world, for that matter, that he has what it takes to win at the highest level and earn his way back to the Olympia stage, it seems like it's only a matter of time before we get to see what Hassan 2.0 looks like standing shoulder to shoulder with the other great athletes in the division. Ladies and gentlemen, get out your pens and pencils so you can circle March 2nd through the 5th on your calendars, because that's the weekend that we're going to see Samson Dowda effectively lay down the gauntlet at the Arnold Classic. Recently, we got the official word from Samson's camp that he was planning to bring his talents back to Columbus, Ohio, where he'll presumably come in as one of the pre-show favorites given the incredible hot streak that he's on right now. With there being such a short turnaround time between the Olympia and the Arnold, I don't know how reasonable it is to expect to see any significant improvements in Samson's physique. So the real key for him here will be to make sure he holds his peak and that he's 100% spot on from a conditioning standpoint. Because if those two things hold serve, it's going to be damn near impossible for anyone else in this lineup to take away that first place from him. But with that being said, given all of the shuffling that we've seen go on at the top of the men's open over the last 12 months, if he does end up leaving a tiny crack in the door, there's no telling how many guys might be in prime position to exploit it. Last weekend, we also heard a huge announcement from James Hollingsworth, who took to social media and announced that he was planning to take off the entire 2023 contest season. According to James, he's looking to take a step back this year to give himself an opportunity to work on some things both physically and mentally so he can be fully prepared to leave it all on the table when he's ready to step back into the limelight later in 24. One of the most interesting things that came about during James' address was the fact that he said he was planning to retire from competitive bodybuilding by the age of 35, which means that for all intents and purposes, he's only got a few more years of high-level bodybuilding under his belt before he hangs up his posing trunks and moves on to bigger and better things. Anyone who's followed James' career, dating back to his amateur days, knows that he's someone who just doesn't do things if he's not able to commit to them 100%, which helps to put both of the announcements into perspective when you sit back and think about it. However, if he can find a way to get himself to where he needs to be at some point over the next 12 months, by the time he is ready to get back after it, he should be more than ready to pick right back up where he left off in pursuit of finding his way into the top 6 conversation at the Mr. Olympia contest. I heard a pretty crazy stat on the news this morning. Apparently only about 9% of people actually keep their New Year's resolutions, and the majority of the resolutions flame out spectacularly by the end of January. So I guess if you're reading between the lines, the trick is to get a jump on things early the way Sergio Oliva Jr. does, so that the arbitrary date of January 1st doesn't end up dooming you to failure. By all accounts, the word we're hearing coming from people close to Sergio's camp is that he's in the best space physically and mentally that he's been in a long time. And it looks like he's ready to hit the 2023 contest season with a full head of steam. In a lot of ways, it seems like packing up and making the move to train out in Oxygen Gym has been a game changer for Sergio. Because when you see him train now, he has that laser focus that we saw him have a few years ago when he was at his best. Another thing to note here, With the changes to the new qualification system this year, it's more important than it's ever been for guys to bring their best every time out, because the opportunities to clinch a qualifying spot are a lot harder to come by. But if you can stay locked into the zone, and most importantly, manage to stay healthy, then there's no reason to think we can't see a new and improved version of Sergio Oliva Jr. back on the Olympia stage come this November. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.